there in the last session we were there, so I would again do a bit formatting. I would not spend much time on formatting, rather I would spend more time on the DAX measure. So we were I just changed, from here I removed this DuPont analysis, ROE, net profit upon sale. This side I have removed, and now I would put the scenarios here. Okay. So, and I would, if I would stuck somewhere, I would use the this final dashboard, so that to save time, because there are many DAX measures. So maybe I forget some steps. Okay. So first I had to create this revenue scenario here. So we will go, I would create, we would go in modeling, new parameter, what if parameter. I would name it revenue scenario. Data type decimal number, minimum minus 0.20, 20%, maximum positive 20%, 0.20, increment should be 2%, 0.02, and default should be 0. We got this revenue scenario. We can say it's moving similar to this one. So I would change the formatting and all these things, but step by step we would do. So I would reduce the size first, revenue scenario. Okay, the next step is to create a COGS scenario. So I would again go in modeling, new parameter, what if parameter, COGS scenario. Again, I would repeat the purpose that we would change the scenario, like if we increase the revenue percent, what would be the impact on the final revenue percent. So that's what our goal is. Type is decimal number, minimum minus 0.02, maximum, minus 2.0, maximum is 0.20, increment is 0.02, and default is 0. Okay. Now COGS scenario I got. Now next is OPEX scenario. So again same, I would go in modeling, new parameter, what if parameter, OPEX scenario, decimal number, minus 0.20, maximum is 0.20, and increment is 0.02, again default is 0. And now I would do it a bit quick because we have a lot of things. OPEX scenario, I got it. We can say it's a parameter, or we can say it's a slicer. Okay. The last one is interest and income tax scenario. Again in the modeling, new parameter, what if parameter, interest and income tax scenario. Okay. Decimal number, again minimum should be minus 0.20 and maximum should be 0.20, increment should be 0.02, and default is 0. Okay. So I got 4 slicers: revenue scenario, COGS scenario, OPEX scenario, and interest and income tax scenario. If I move it now, it will not work because it's not linked. So we are going to link it with the help of tax measures. So now I would create one table, enter data. I would name it as IS, income statement scenario calculations. Same name I have given in the final sheet which I prepared just for my reference. This is the name of that table, IS scenario calculations, and you can see that these are the scenarios calculations I am going to create. Revenue scenario, this is the formula. So first is the revenue scenario. I am copying from here, Control C. We go here. So this is the table created. Where is the table of IS scenario calculations? Yeah. New measure. So there will be many DAX calculations. So you guys just have to see. So this is the calculation formula. Revenue scenario is equal to revenue multiplied by 1 plus revenue scenario value. So let me tell you what happened actually. When I created these scenario filters, revenue scenario, COG scenario, this was the output which we received. This is the revenue scenario. First is this slicer, and the other one is the table. So we got two outputs. One is the slicer and the other one is the table. So if I click this one, so we got this, and I would convert this into a card. So I would create some space. Reduce the size. Scenario, and we have this interest and income tax scenario. So I clicked on this one on the table, and I got this result. So if I have, the filter is on 0.12 negative, if I increase it, it will go positive. 0.02, now I am at 0.12, it's at 0.12, it's like that. Okay, so again I would click on this COG scenario, and I would click on the table as well, like this. I would copy and paste, Control C, Control V, and now I would select this one. COG scenario, okay. Again Control C, Control V. OPEX scenario. So I would go in OPEX. Where is OPEX? And now the final is interest and income tax. So again copy paste, Control C, Control V. So if I increase COG scenario, it will increase. If I increase OPEX, it will increase. And if I increase interest and income tax, it will increase. Okay, fine. So after that, I created this IS scenario calculation. Let me show you this one. This is the DAX calculation. Now I would create now I would create COGS scenario. Again, I will copy this formula. Control C. New measure. Because the purpose is to link these filters and these cards with these numbers. That's why I am creating these measures. Control V. So I would replace this with COGS. And here would also replace revenues with COGS. COGS into COGS scenario, CS revenue. Net V COGS. That's the problem with this tax. If we make a single mistake, it impacts the whole. I would replace this with COGS. Okay, now here COGS scenario value. Of COGS scenario. It was cost of revenues. It was cost of revenue. It was not COGS. It was cost of revenue. Yeah. I got it. Because in our trial balance, we had cost of revenues. Yeah, like this. And the formula is multiply by 1 plus COGS scenario value. So now it's fine. Now OPEX scenario. Again, new measure. Control V. OPEX scenario is equal to, again I would replace revenue with OPEX, and 1 plus, I think it was operating expenses. Yeah, it was operating, again the same mistake. Operating expenses multiply by 1 plus OPEX scenario value. So again I'm repeating, the purpose is to link these slicers and these cards with this one. So that's why I'm using tasks, and I am creating these scenarios because I would, again in the end, I would create the ratios of this one, and I would replace these numbers with those ratios, so that when I will move the slicer, these percents will automatically change. So we can use this concept for different purposes. If somebody wants to make some, heat map, any, RCM, so they can use it over there as well. Revenue. Okay, the next one is revenue OPEX. Now we have interest income tax scenario. Okay. Control C. Another new measure. Just if you have any questions, you can ask anytime. I would try to explain. Interest and income tax scenario is equal to, and I would replace this with interest and income tax. Yeah, this one. 1 plus. In the end, I would explain again, but interest and income tax scenario. Okay, fine. Now next is GP scenario. GP scenario is simple, revenue minus COGS. I would copy from here, Control C, and I would add another one, new measure, Control V. We got the GP scenario. Now EBIT is also simple, Control C. I am copying from the final dashboard to the one which I am making. Those who just joined, to save time, I'm not writing all the formulas. Control V. Okay. Got the EBIT scenario as well. This one is the extra column. I'm deleting it. Right click, delete. So we got 5 A1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what's missing is net profit scenario. Net profit scenario is missing. So Control C. Now we have net profit scenario. Control V. So we have all the scenarios here. So what I did, I would again repeat, I first created these slicers with the help of these modeling parameters, what if parameters. I got this card. This is the card I got. This is the slicer I got from the first formula, from the formula which I use, what if parameter, and this card as well. This slicer and this card I got from this one. Okay. Now I am creating the income statement scenario calculations. Now I would create the ratio scenarios like this. Ratio scenarios. First one is revenue scenario. Revenue scenario percent. I would create again a table. Ratio scenarios. Okay. Now revenue scenario percent. New measure. Control V. So this is the revenue scenario percent. I divided revenue scenario which I just created here in this IS scenario calculation, this one, divided by revenue. Just to explain you, this is the ratio scenario. Revenue scenario percent, I divided revenue scenario with revenues. Okay. Now again, the next one is COGS scenario percent. So I would copy from here. Control measure. Control V. Okay. The third one is OPEX scenario percent. So again, new measure, and I would copy from here. OPEX scenario percent. Control C. Control V. Okay. We got OPEX scenario percent. Now the fourth one is interest and income tax scenario percent. Again, the formula is I divided interest and income tax scenario with the revenues. Control C. Here I copied with new measure. Control V. Okay. Next one is GP scenario percent. So again, new measure. I would do one calculation in front of you. GP scenario percent is equal to divide, bracket open, GP scenario. I just wrote GP scenario and it automatically gave me the scenario number, comma, revenue scenario, comma, 0, bracket close. You can see from here like this, revenue scenario. Okay, the next one is EBIT scenario percent. Again, EBIT is EBIT scenario divided by revenue. So Control C. New measure. Control V. EBIT scenario percent. I divided EBIT scenario with revenues. Okay. And the last one, the next one is net profit scenario percent. So net profit scenario will be divided with revenues. Control C. New measure. So this is how I got all the ratio scenarios. This is extra column, extra table. I would delete. We have now the 7 ratio scenarios, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we are good to go. So I would repeat. First, I created these slicers with the help of this. I would show you again, those who missed, those who joined late. I clicked on modeling. I clicked on this what if parameter. I mentioned revenue scenario, just like that. Revenue scenario. I gave the data type as decimal number because I want my slicer to move as a decimal number. The minimum percentage is 20%, minus 0.20, maximum is 20%, and increment, the increment in the slicer should be 2%, 0.02, and default is 0. It should be decimal number. Okay, and it is this is how I created all these slicers. So, and the parameter is revenue scenario. I am giving you example, the first parameter or the slicer which I created. Revenue scenario, decimal number, minus 0.20 means minus 20%, plus 20%, maximum is plus 20%, increment is 0.02, and add slicer to this page. So that's why the slicer appeared, because of this what if parameter. I'm again repeating, those who joined late, the default should be 0. So I prepared first revenue scenario, then COGS scenario, then OPEX scenario, and the last one was interest and income tax scenario. When I clicked on this OK, I will not click now because I've already created these parameters. I would have got this if I would have clicked on that OK, this one. These two tables I got. This is slicer, first one, and the other one is this card. So I have done the similar thing with these four parameters: revenue, COGS, OPEX, and interest and income tax. So I would do a bit formatting. I would reduce the size of this. I would create first this one. Click on this. Numeric input should be, the color should be, I am changing the color to dark blue. Okay. Background, I am also changing background to make it visible. So I would make it like this. Size, I am increasing 12. Okay, 13. Okay. Now close this. Slicer header. Revenue scenario. I would also like to increase the size of this revenue scenario. 13. It's not visible because we reduce the size. Revenue scenario. Okay. Now this one, I would click here. Data label. I would change the color to dark blue, and I would reduce the size as 30. Okay. And it's good to go. Category should be dark blue. I'm doing the formatting steps now because we are done with this. I would show you the end result. I would change the formatting of 1, and then I would and if I click here, just click here and I would change it to %. So here I would click on %, reduce decimal number to 0. So 20%. Here I would also click on this one. I would click on %, and I would reduce it to 0. So here I would change the button. I would reduce it. It would become 2%. I would reduce it to minus 1%. It will go to minus 1%. Okay. So I would click here. Format painter. Click here. So it would change. Format painter. Click. Format painter. Click. Likewise, this one. Format painter. This. Format painter this, format painter this, but we need to change the size of the data label. Click here, and I would change, I need to change the % sign as well. Click here, again %, reduce the decimal to 0. It became minus 8%. Now click here, again %, and reduce to 2 decimal places. Okay. Now the OPEX scenario. Again, OPEX scenario, which I created with the help of what if parameter. I'm again repeating because just to refresh the. Okay, Abdullah Suleiman has joined. Okay, so I would click again here on %, 0. Again, click on this one. So make it in % form. Again, %, 0. And the last one is interest and income tax. First slicer, this one. %, 0. And the last one is this card. sorry, first is slicer, now this one. Okay, person 0. So I would align the size of all of these. We would increase the size. I'm just taking it there. Oh my god. So that all filters all parameters or all slicers should be of same size, because otherwise it won't look good. Like this. Okay. And like this one. I'm doing the formatting steps as well. Earlier I thought that I would not do formatting, but no, I will show you the final result, final end product. And this one as well. No, it's not moving. 6%. It should be 2. There's a problem in this OPEX scenario. I will see. It should change as well, like this interest and income tax scenario. I don't know what happened. I would go in interest and income tax scenario. I would delete this one and I would create another interest and income tax scenario. I would also delete this. Because that was not working. So again, modeling, new parameter, interest and income tax scenario, decimal number less 0.20, maximum is 0.20, increment should be 0.02 and default should be 0, and we would get the interest and income tax scenario parameter here. We got this. Okay. I would click now on now it will change to button card. Yeah, now it's good to go. Now it's working. Okay, so I would change the format painter. I would put the format painter on this one as well. I would put the format painter on this one as well, like this. Okay, and I would again align with this formatting. Now it's good to go. And this one as well, I would put it here and I would reduce the size and make it aligned with the other box. So this requires a lot of patience, because I know you guys will be thinking that it requires a lot of formatting, but this is how. If the final product should look good, it should be like this. Click %, two decimal places, and this one also I would click here, and it should be %, two decimal places. So now participants, you can see that I am moving this slicer here, the card is moving here, but the numbers are not moving. What is the reason? So this is the scenario we have, this is the card we have. Although we already have prepared the ratio scenarios, but it's not moving. Can anyone tell me the reason? The reason is that these numbers are linked with these ratios, IS ratios. Got me? If I click here, this is the revenue percent. It's not linked with the ratio scenarios. So what should I do? I would uncheck, for example, if your revenue percent, I would uncheck this and I would click on revenue scenario percent. I just created in ratio scenarios. Now it will move. Click. Now it will function. See this, it's less 0. It's minus 2%. If I increase, the revenue will be 106%. You got my point. Now I would click here and I would also change to percent. 0. I hope you guys would have got my point, that now it's moving. If I click here, if I make it to 20%, it will become 120%. See this, and this card is also moving. And if I want to make it for 2018, I can also do this. I would reduce it to minus 2%, it will become 98%. Other numbers are not moving because we are only dealing with only changing the slicer of revenue. The GP will change, but COGS will not change. If I want COGS also to change, I would click on COGS here. COGS. I would uncheck the IS ratios. 1 minute. Which I which I created last time. I would uncheck this one and I would click on COGS scenario percent in ratio scenarios. I hope you guys would have got my point. COGS scenario percent. Again, percent. Now, if I change to increase to less 2%, it will reduce 2%. If I increase to 6%, it will become 69%. And if our goal is 65%, and if our COGS is increasing, so these are scenarios, like, if you want to present to some senior members or board directors or like to anyone, our department head, that these are the scenarios. You can change these scenario percentages depending on your own requirement, your own goals. Now I would change for GP percent as well. So I would uncheck this GP here. I have unchecked this, and now I would click on ratio scenarios GP percent here, which I just created. Where is the ratio scenario? This one. GP scenario percent. Yeah, now it will move. So if I play with this, we don't have GP scenario here. Okay, fine. Because it's dependent on revenue and COGS. Fine. But it's linked now. If I click here, percent, 2 decimal places now. We have the OPEX. Now I would click on OPEX. I would uncheck the one which we had created last time, operating expense percent, and I would now check ratio scenarios. This one, OPEX scenario percent, or OPEX scenario percent. Yeah, like this. See this. Again, change to percent. 2 decimal places to 0. Fine. Now we have EBIT percent as well. So I would uncheck the EBIT which we had created last time in IS ratios, EBIT percent, uncheck. Those who are not there in the last class, in the last session, because I had already created these ratios in the last session, simple ratios. But now I have linked these ratios with these scenarios. Okay. Now I would go in the ratio scenario, EBIT scenario percent. Click this. Now it will change. EBIT, I would change it to percent, 2 decimal places. And finally the interest and income tax percent, because if I have to link it with other one, I have to change this one as well. So uncheck the one, this one. Uncheck this one and check the one which we just created, interest and income tax scenario person. This is the formula. Divide interest and income tax scenario. This is the scenario which we had created here. This is the one, interest and income tax scenario. Divide interest and income tax scenario, this one, with revenue scenario. With revenues. Okay. Percent. And last is net profit. I would change from there. And check this one. And check here. So they are all linked. If I want more presentation, if you want me to do, I can do. I would increase the length of this one. Control C, Control V, and I would put it here. Again, Control C, Control V, I would put it here. So this is the end. The end should be like this. This is the final, because I did formatting when I had some time. So this is the end. Final dashboard. When we increase the revenue scenario to 8%, if I reduce to 20%, it will become 98 here. COGS will not change. Cost of it has reduced. If I increase it to 10%, it will become 90%. COGS is not change. If I change COGS here like this, it will become 68%, 65%. So it will move like this. This is same, but the formatting is more pleasing, more it's more presentable. But the formulas, everything is same. First, I created these revenue scenarios with the help of what if parameter. I would repeat. Then IS scenario calculations. This was the formula. These were the formulas I used. Revenue multiplied by 1 plus revenue scenario value, because I want to make it dynamic. That's why I am multiplying our revenues of those revenues which I have created here. These revenues with these new parameters. Any question? I hope it's clear.